Do you have any Caipirinha tips for
She
the
is the
Den of Geek fan?
Caipirinha
Yeah,
queen.
yeah.
She makes the best caipirinha you'll ever have in the world.
This question's for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the caipirinha was fake.
No, don't tell me that. Hey, Den of Geek fans, Aaron Sagers here at South by Southwest 2024, the Den of Geek Studios, and I'm joined by the cast of Musica. And Rudy, I'm just got to say, I don't know how to explain this movie because it's musical, it's comedy, it's romantic, it's got so much going on, and it's deeply personal. So, how would you explain it? How are you explaining this film to others?
With difficulty. Yeah, I guess it's an unconventional coming of age, follows a man with synesthesia who's trying to balance many things in his life, romance, relationships, culture, family, through this synesthetic musical perspective.
It's fantastical in some ways and exceptionally relatable. It has all of these kind of beautiful elements with it, but you said that you filmed it in your actual childhood home, so talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, I had the privilege of being able to shoot not only on location, but where the story is actually set. Everything from, I want to say like 90% of the locations were authentic. Everything from my mother's house was the actual house where I grew up in, to the fish market, it was the actual fish market I used to go to growing up, to the city streets and the Ironbound, to the restaurant. I mean, all of it was the actual place, the exception of maybe the other 20%, which is either on a stage or a location. And we shot in Newark, New Jersey, which is where the story takes place.
And Maria, you play Rudy's mother, but you're also Rudy's mother, so are you acting?
And I saw the script. I was like, wow, this is me talking to Rudy. That's exactly what I said all my life to him. All I have to do is pretend I'm me. Like it was, I don't know how to say. It was very...
She wasn't acting.
I was not acting, that's the answer.
Actually, one of the strategies with shooting with my mom was at a certain point, I think I made the conscious decision not to be the director, but just be her son. We cross-shot a lot of our scenes, almost all our scenes. We had a minimum of 2 cameras, if not 3. And we would just have a conversation, and I'd steer the conversation to hit the beats. And that felt better than trying to memorize the lines on the page.
Camila, stepping into this world that exists, it's Rudy's world, but it's also this fictional world, and then you're bringing to life this new and original character. How was it from your perspective? How did you kind of find that character?
When I signed on as an actor, I also signed on as a producer. And one of the things I wanted to do with Rudy is kind of work through our scenes together and really finesse their dialogue and also kind of get deeper about Isabella's storyline and who she is and what she really wants from him. And so what ended up happening was I ended up bringing so much of my own personal life and things that I've experienced in my life, obviously exaggerated and you know, for the purposes of entertainment, but a lot of Isabella and her struggles are personal to me, so we ended up creating a dynamic on and off screen that was very authentic to who we are as people.
And Francesca, you play Rudy's other love interest in the film, Haley, and what for you was the balance of keeping this person likable while also existing within, let's say, a somewhat unlikable family unit?
Cammie's actually the one who told me about the project. She was like, have you read for this movie Musica that I'm doing? And I was like, no. And she was like, I really think you should. And she was the one who was actually like, I think you would find we're struggling because everyone's so unlikable. So she actually gave me my first note. Sorry, Ruby. And she was like, yeah, we just need someone who can. And I actually don't think Haley is unlikable. I just think she's.
Wait a minute. I didn't know that.
Oops.
I didn't know that you brought the project to her, because the truth is I'd seen a lot of tapes and we were struggling casting this role, and we're fighting with time, and I loved her tape and I loved our meeting, and I thought she was perfect before I knew they even had a deep friendship.
Yeah.
They went to college together. They're best friends. And I didn't know this, but I didn't know that you brought the project to her. I figured
Yeah.
it just got in front of you through agents, managers.
No. I texted my team right away. I was like, hey, have you guys heard about this movie Musica? And they were like, we're actually sending it to you like right now. And then I was like, great. And, you know, I was also in a place where I needed this movie way more than it needed me. But I don't think Haley's a unlikable person. I think, and what I tried to bring to her is like she's someone who comes from a dynamic that is so structured and so linear and so concentrated on one goal, which is probably just like financial success and stability. And I tried to bring her to a place where you could kind of feel her anxiety and pressure about accomplishing that and about finding a partner who could accomplish that, just so she didn't, I guess, ultimately become this like family disappointment. And that I think is a lot more relatable and endearing than just like can I say bitch?
I mean, I'm not gonna stop you. Go for it.
Okay, great. Like the bitch who's like, get a job, get a real job, art isn't important, because we don't like that, and that would have never been understood by an audience.
Yeah. Yeah, no, she's not an unlikable character. She comes from an unlikable world, it seems like.
Fran was the solution to that problem. Like, I think casting you was enough to make her likable, because on the page she can come off unlikable because of the things that she's saying, but if you balance that out with an actress who's so sweet and you can tell that Haley's coming from a good place, like she really wants a future with them and she wants him to fit into her life and the things that she wants, but clearly it's just clashing, and I feel like Fran played that so beautifully.
You know, I was saying earlier to you, I didn't quite know how to describe this movie, and then thinking about all the like fantastical elements and everything, it feels like there's a lot of characters in this film that are not the human characters. We have puppets. We have the synesthesia itself is almost a character. We have New Jersey as a character. It is a lot to wrap your arms around, and then it works. It comes together. Was there any point of the process where either other partners or anyone tried to tell you to dial it back and say, well, maybe a little less this, or maybe make it a little bit more traditional this way, and this would be an easier movie to make if that was the case?
There were a lot of forces in my life during the process of making this movie and before that pulled me in various directions. But ultimately, I think the strongest force, or the one that was the most disruptive, was my own self. I'd get in my own way, and I try to depict that as much as possible in the film. He's a victim of his own self-perpetuated chaos. And these romantic characters in the film, you know, I like to call it a love square because Rudy's mom is involved in both relationships. They represent the different paths that Rudy can take. And I think that's what the characters really mean to me. They're more symbolic than anything else. And that's very reflective of my experience. Mm-hmm. I think I got away from the question. I don't know what the question was. Could you repeat the question?
I can answer the question.
I think your producer is picking it up here.
Clearly, she's better at this one.
No, I was gonna say there were definitely moments where you would get the note that was like, I don't know, would this really happen though? Like, this doesn't really feel believable. And you would always be like, well, it happened to me, so I'm telling you that it
Okay, I
is
remember the
believable.
question now. Thank you,
Yes.
producer.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, what she said. No, but there was a popular note was you got these two beautiful women fighting for this guy, right? And that wasn't the point, right? It's more so, like I said, they represent two different paths more than they do actual people, and that's why I put that disclaimer in front of the film. It's based on a true story, unfortunately, to remind people that 95% of what you're seeing actually happened to me.
Mm-hmm. You capture the Brazilian American experience as well in Jersey, and I was kind of thinking, like, I can't really think of another film where I felt that. Was that kind of part of your mission as well, to represent this kind of culture that not a lot of people are seeing in the movies?
Definitely. It was depicting the unique cultural perspective, that of a Brazilian American specifically, because the Brazilian culture, as we've been talking about, is so underrepresented in mainstream TV and film, the Portuguese language as well. And as Brazilians, we really wanted to take this opportunity to shine light on Brazil, on native Brazilians, on Brazilian Americans, and talk about that duality of cultures and identity. and the others was the unique musical perspective. Those are the two mission statements.
Yeah. Maria, how did it feel for you to see the Brazilian culture kind of on screen through your son's movie?
I think it was amazing. This is something I was waiting a long time because I never saw anything Brazilian, like in terms of entertainment, nothing of the Brazilian culture. And there's a lot of Brazilians who can live here in America. So I think it's going to be great. And I can see already, like when I look at Instagram, people make comments, that's amazing, the Brazilians, everybody is waiting. So like to watch the movie, and they're like very proud and very happy. And me too, I'm very happy to see. I think it was a great idea.
Anyone that lives in New York, New Jersey, I think understands the thrum, the rhythm of the city, and you capture that very well. And I was kind of curious, down the line, did working on this film make you kind of pay a little bit more attention to the noises around you and the rhythm of the noises around you, Francesca?
Francesca.
I know, that sounded very intense, sorry.
We're just gonna honestly, well, I've never met anyone who's had synesthesia until I met Rudy, and obviously a big part of this element, and one of the big challenges for me as an actor was when you'd have to speak on a melody. Like he'd be like, you're saying like, Rudy, can you hear me? Rudy, can you? And I'd be like, and then he'd be like, okay, action. I'd be like, what? Like you forgot English, and then. Yeah, and then as he started to explain it and you started to see the scenes play out, like our diner scene in the beginning when we were actually, like you saw the camera move and they all started playing and doing, and you would hear and see what he's hearing and seeing in his head. I found myself, and I do it now to this day, whenever I'm in New York or even in LA, I'll drive or walk without my headphones in because it's so much more engaging and it is so much more alive than I remember it when we lived in New York because I always had my headphones in or my head down or something. And so yeah, it really has changed the way I look at just like not just New York but just the world around me.
I also think, obviously I spend a lot of time with Rudy, and I think now I'm more sensitive to sound as well because when I'm with him, I know how certain sounds can affect him and like distract him or whatever. So and I've noticed the moments where I see you kind of zone out because you hear like a beeping sound in the background and you're like trying to listen, but all you can hear is this beeping sound. So I think it's made me more aware of those things that I would normally tune out.
Yeah, you talk about it in such a beautiful way that it's bringing an awareness to something that people deal with, but also in this lovely artistic manner, and that it really pops for that reason. I loved it.
Thank you.
And I guess the final question is caipirinhas. There seems like I love caipirinhas. It seems like that could be a whole other character in this film. So how many caipirinhas or cachaça was consumed during the making of this movie? And do you have any caipirinha tips for the Den of Geek fan? Yeah.
She makes the best caipirinha you'll ever have in the world.
This question's for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the Caipirinha was fake.
No, she knows. In the
No,
film.
don't tell me that. You can't say that you make the best caipirinhas without telling us how. We need the magic ingredient. I know it's just sugar. We've got cachaça.
Lime,
Okay.
cachaça, a good one, and lime, sugar, no white sugar, more like brown sugar.
Or cane sugar.
Yeah, cane sugar. That's what I mean. And then you have the stuff to mix. You have to squeeze really well the lime with the casca. Make fun.
With the skin, the rind?
Yeah, it has to be everything inside. Like you squeeze.
That's a big
then you
part
put
of it.
a big part of the sugar. Then you shake really well. And that's delicious.
It's all about how it's a simple
Simple,
very
simple.
simple, but it's about the touch.
Yeah,
And
the
measurements.
Exactly.
the measurement and the
And good
cachaça is
quality.
the secret.
And good quality cachaça.
Good quality.
Yeah, the
cachaça.
quality. Yeah.
Okay, well, the movie is Musica. Brigado, guys. Thank you for joining us. And really lovely, really great movie. Enjoyed it.
Thank you
I
so much.
appreciate it.